Right now, it's March 1828, and we have some issues with slavery, and the election of Andrew Jackson has caused lots of change in democracy. There are two things on how slavery is wrong. One of them is political, because in the Declaration of Independence it said all men are created equal. But many white people right now don't think that is for the slaves. The other one is religious, because some Quakers and the other religious groups have been speaking out against slavery. They say all women and men are equal in God's eyes. Back in the early 1800s, there was a religious movement. It was called Second Great Awakening, and a minister Back in the early 1800s, there was a religious movement. It was called Second Great Awakening, and a minister, Charles Grandison Finney, was one of the leaders. He tried getting Christians to join in and help getting rid of slavery. It was successful. Slavery ended in the North, and now they say by 1804, all the states from Pennsylvania promised to free their slaves. Now they set up a colony in Africa for the free slaves and are made by the American Colonization Society. President Monroe has been helping the society make a nation, Liberia, in Western Africa, but the Southerners do not want to end slavery. Some African Americans, like Paul Cuff, have mixed feelings, and they think they should go to Africa because he thinks they will never have equal rights in the U.S. But some want to stay in the U.S. because most are born here. Abolitionists are the people that want to end slavery in the U.S. They used to do petitions and lawsuits to try and get slavery to end. Even Samuel Cornish and John R. have made a newspaper against slavery, and the name is Freedom's Journal. Then African-American David Walker published Appeal to the Colored Citizens of the World. The best African-American abolitionist is Frederick Douglass. He spoke out at anti-slavery meeting, spoke out and moved everyone, even me. He is always traveling everywhere throughout the U.S. and Britain, speaking against slavery. Now he published this newspaper called the North Star. William Lloyd Garrison has spoken out a lot for white abolitionists. He also made an anti-slavery paper called The Liberator. It talks on how the evil slavery to end immediately. After a year later, it seems like he has found the new anti-slavery society in New England, and one of the members was a minister, Theodore Weld. The daughters, Sarah and Angelina Grimke, began to hate slavery, so now they moved to Philadelphia, so they work in the abolition. Some abolitionists are trying to help slaves to get out of the South, which is very risky. The people that do all of that are called the Underground Railroad. This is like a secret passage to lead slaves to freedom in Canada or the North. The conductors were the whites and free blacks, and guided them to stations to spend the night. One conductor was Harriet Tubman. He was a slave that escaped herself in the past, but she still returned to the South many times. Douglass and Garrison have made enemies with the North and the South because they depend on each other. Some workers in the North fear that if the slaves are freed, they will come and take their jobs by working with low payment. Now some mobs in New York break up some anti-slavery meetings and they attack abolitionist homes. Now some Southerners are defending slavery even more now. There are some Southerners that believe if slavery was treated well, it would be okay, but there were some that preferred wedge slaves, which is workers who work long hours in dusty, airless factories. Even Southerners that have no slaves still defend slavery. It is supposedly an essential to Southern economy, but now people in the South are beginning to believe that us Northerners want to destroy their way of life. Right now, I think that Charles did well because he got the campaign to be successful and freed the slaves from Pennsylvania. Southerners are insane because they don't even want to free their slaves. If in the Declaration of Independence it says all men are created equal, it is true for whites and African Americans. I am an abolitionist, so I completely agree about freeing the slaves. I don't think getting rid of slavery will hurt the economy anywhere, so Southerners shouldn't worry about it. The people in the North do not want to destroy Southerners' life. We just want to free the slaves. I think that all men and women are equal, so we should give the slaves equal rights and freedom.